All right, I've got another amazing practice podcast coming at you right now. We're going to be practicing Rootless Voicing Structure 2 today through all of our 2-5-1s at 5 different tempos: 60, 90, 120, 150, and 180. And inside the Jazz Piano School membership, when you get to that 120 mark, that means you can actually move on because you've reached a certain point that's enough to actually use the tool in tunes, essentially learning freedom. With that being said, my name is Brendan Lowe, creator and founder of JazzPianoSchool.com. Don't forget to check out the website to find all of the amazing free education we have there. And if you're looking to take some next steps in your journey, we do have a membership, courses, and even live teaching programs available as well. With that being said, let's dive right in.
All right, so here we go. We're going to practice 5 different tempos: 60, 90, 120, 150, 180. This is the tempo scale that I use for all my students inside of the Jazz Piano School membership. 60 is just starting. So 60 is when you're just first learning a tool like we're doing here. 90 is you're starting to get the hang of it. 120 is it's solid. When you get to that metronome level, I was going to say metronomic. Metronome level, is metronomic a word? I don't know. You can move on from there and go to the next tool, whatever you're learning. If you're a Jazz Piano School member, you'd go on to the next step, essentially in the curriculum. But if you get to 120, that means it's good. It's pretty solid. You can use it. You can integrate it. 150 is swinging. You're swinging. It's going real well. It's working. It's killing. You're grooving. People are enjoying it. And finally, 180 is mastery. Mastery. That means it's completely mastered. You'll never forget it. You know, I'd like to say you'll never make a mistake, but of course we're all human. But pretty much you will rarely ever make a mistake. You don't have to hesitate, guess, and whatnot. It's completely mastered. So 120 is your goal for this. I'm going to go over the chord real quick again. This is Rootless Voicing Structure 2. We did Structure 1 last week. Here's Structure 2. For a 2-5-1 in the key of C, we're going to do a D minor 7 chord, to a G7 chord, to a C major 7. This is the example. We're going to go through all of them in just a second. 7, 9, 3, 5 is the minor 7 voicing we're going to use on all the minor 7 chords. Okay, 7, 9, 3, 5 of the chord. From here, all we're going to do is move our thumb down by a half step, and that's going to bring us to 3, 13, 7, 9 over the G7 chord, right? So in all these chords, we have 2 shells, and then of some extensions or the 5th, right? So in this case, we have 2 extensions. We have the 9 and the 13, and then finally, 7, 9, 3, 5 of the C major 7 chord. Now in this case, again, we always have the 2 shells. You need the 2 shells in there all the time, but we have a 9 and we have the 5 in there, so we only have 1 extension here. So one more time before we get started: 7, 9, 3, 5, 3, 13, 7, 9, 7, 9, 3, 5. Okay? So I'm going to say little tips along the way. Sometimes I'll be quiet, sometimes I won't. But don't forget, on the very last C major 7 chord, you can kind of lift your hand and get ready to switch to the new 2-5-1. With that being said, here's 60 BPM, and good luck. Here we go. Nice and easy, right? We're just starting here. Repeat it here. Get your hand ready. I'm going to switch to my G minor 7. This register is okay because I comp down here all the time. It's actually comping strategy zone 1. Okay, C minor. Doing great, doing great. Try to visualize the shape. The root there. F minor. All right, you can get your hand ready before the next chord. I highly recommend that. Try to find the shape, try to find the notes. Okay, again, see, I'm putting my hand over the chord, then I'm playing it. I can lift and ghost the next chord. Make sure it's right. Lift, ghost. You don't have to hold it down the entire time. I'm just doing that right now. You can play them short, right? So I can move my hand, find the chord, I can play it short, find the next chord like this, right? And then play the next chord, D flat. So short will help you if you're a beginner get into position faster, right? Eventually you will want to practice long to get used to playing that type of duration and texture. All right, we're doing great. We're moving on to the sharp keys now. Here's C sharp minor. And B major 7, all black notes, right, on this one. There, we got 3 more. Hang in there, doing great. Last 2. Key of D, great key. Right next to C, right? Last one, key and G. All right. So how'd that go? Pretty good? Not so good? Did you make some mistakes? Was it perfect? So here is the point where you want to assess yourself. If you made some mistakes, it's not time to bump up the tempo. It's actually time to bump the tempo down. The worst thing you can do right now if you did make mistakes is try to redo it at the same tempo. Okay? Make sure that you bump the tempo down because you want to be practicing correct voicings and correct notes. You don't want to continuously practice mistakes because your body is actually learning those mistakes. By using this tip, you'll 10x your efficiency and your progress, and it'll drastically, right, shed time and years off of your jazz piano journey, I promise you, okay? So if you did get that perfect, though, let's bump up, and you can always go to anywhere in between 60 or 90. You don't have to jump right to 90 to test your skills. These are just the levels that I'm setting for you as the tempo scale that I use and the students inside of Jazz Piano School use as well. So here we go. Here's 90. This is getting the hang of it. You're feeling good. It's a little faster, all right? Here we go. A little faster, right? It's got some pulse to it. Great tempo. Nice and easy, slow swing. Swinging, not too slow. It's like a walk down the street, right? Feeling good. We're not using any rhythms right now, but either, by the way. We're just trying to play chords. The whole purpose of this is to get the notes, to learn the notes of the chord and the shapes. We're not worried about rhythms yet because we don't know the chord yet. We have to do that later. That comes later. Once you know the tool, then you can start to move around with it, manipulate it, and use it to create freedom within your playing, right? That's where the rhythms come in. Whoops, I missed a chord as I was talking. Better shut up. All right, halfway there. Again, how'd you do? Did you have mistakes in there? Was it perfect? Was it easy? If you had little hesitations, but you were hitting the right notes, that's okay. I would probably redo it at the same tempo if you were kind of hesitating, but you hit the right notes. But if you didn't hit the right notes and you made mistakes, again, bump the tempo down. You might drop it back to 80. You might drop it. If you hit mistakes at 80, then go back to 74. If you hit mistakes at 74, go back to 70, right? So it's all just, it's an easy system, right? And if you follow it, you're going to make progress. It's really that easy. So if you didn't make mistakes, we're going to go up now. And by the way, you might have noticed, I'm going to change the tempo here, that I'm just using my right hand. Now, the reason for this is if you are focusing on certain goals, then the right hand rootless voicings is all you're going to need. And I'm all about speed and efficiency, right? So if your goal is to play solo piano or comp in a band, you're playing in a band, you want to improve your comping, then this is really all you need. You really don't need your left hand voicings at this point. If you want to practice these with your left hand, that's going to be used for improvisational purposes. Improv, right? So don't waste your time practicing your left hand if you're not doing improv or you're not interested in improv. Vice versa. Don't waste your time practicing your right hand if you're only interested in improvising in a band or in a solo piano format, because you need these left hand voicings a lot. I would say if you're doing solo piano and you want to improvise, you're going to need both hand voicings, okay? So here's 120. This is the tempo that's going to allow you to move on. So if you get your rootless voicings down at this tempo, that means you can move to the next step. And the next step is truly isolation or adding some rhythms to these, whatever you want. The rhythms shouldn't be that difficult if you hit 120, but you would move on to the next curriculum step at Jazz Piano School. So here we go. Here's 120. Ooh. Yeah. It's like a quick walk, a brisk walk, right? Maybe a little jog. Comps for you, still on beat 1, but just so you can hear the difference, okay? I'm finding my shape right after I comp to my shape. Shape, right? Comp. And I'm putting my fingers right over top of the shape as fast as I can to make sure my notes are right. Halfway there. Again, you can do long if you want, or short. Short is going to be more for beginners. Long is for more intermediate to advanced players. Because you're not going to have as much time to get to your chord. Switch back to long here. So, or excuse me, 120. So if you pass that, these are solid. That means you can move on. You can move on to the next step. You can move on to the next practice exercise, the next tool. And again, for your rootless voicings, if that's something you're trying to learn, you'd move into a different way to isolate your rootless voicing in different ways. Because just learning your 2-5-1s, it's not enough. Because you're not going to just see 2-5-1s in the tunes you play. Okay, excuse me. So we're going to move to 150 now, 150. And at 150, this really means you're killing it. Like you're crushing it. These are great. They're integrated. If I heard you play these at a gig, I'd be like, oh, that person knows their rootless voicings, right? Their rootless voicing. So I'd be like, they got them down. Okay? So we're going to do 150. It's going to fly by. Here we go. You guys ready? And start. This is good practice for me. I got to get used to talking and playing at the same time. I'm definitely not practiced that. Obviously, when I'm playing, I'm usually not talking. But great job at 150, okay? We're going to go to 180 next. You might have noticed that I'm kind of using different registers. That's okay, and it's completely encouraged by me as well. You don't want to get used to playing in the same register every single time, because any habitual habits you take on, habitual habits, that's redundant, but that's going to stick you in a box. And it's going to, if you go out of that register, for example, you'd be surprised that the tiniest things might screw you off. So you want to practice in different registers. You want to practice with different accents, staccatos, dynamics. All these things can throw you off, right? So the more variables, the more uncomfortable you can get with a certain tool, like we're practicing this tool right now, your rootless voicings, the better you're going to be at them. All right? Let's move up to 180. I'm not going to say a single thing through this, okay, to make sure that we're both focusing as much as possible, because this is the mastery tempo. Here we go. So I hope you guys made it through there without any mistakes. If you did, you've mastered the rootless voicings, okay? So if not, that's okay. No problem. I mean, mastery is a good goal to shoot for, but you definitely by no means have to spend all your time staying at that tempo and trying to master it, unless that's one of your goals, right? But 120 is certainly a great place to move on. Eventually, I would recommend getting them up to tempo, because if you do want to play higher tempos, obviously you'll need to learn them a bit more. But that's your rootless voicings, structure 2 for your 2-5-1s in your right hand. Now, like I said, there's a lot of other steps. There's a lot of other things that start to come after this based on whether you hit that 120 mark or not. If you want to get access to all those steps, you can become a Jazz Piano School member, or if you do have a plan for yourself, obviously you can continue to follow that. Okay, hope you guys enjoyed that, and I'll talk to you soon.
Well, if you enjoyed that video lesson, definitely go ahead and subscribe to the Jazz Piano School YouTube channel, because we release a new lesson video just like the one you saw every single week. And we have other content educational series called Tips, Tricks, and Transcriptions that we release every single week as well. And don't forget to go to jazzpianoschool.com to check out all of the other amazing free education available there. And if you're looking to take some next steps on your jazz piano journey, we do have a membership available, many courses, and even live teaching programs that allow you to work with myself and my staff of Jazz Piano School educators. My name is Brendan Lowe, creator and founder of Jazz Piano School. Thank you so much for watching, and happy practicing.